So I want to see that sort of opening range today. If we can get that, then I will start to readjust my opinion or my guess.
Deberíamos estar en directo.
When people forecast the market, you know, I like calling it a guess. People think that you need to forecast the market in order to be able to trade it, and lose this. It's not about me. It's not about me being right. I can talk about that later if you want, but I'll adjust my guess, and my guess is that the market is you know, that we're going to find a
Estamos en directo.
get above these levels easy. You know, to see 61, 66.
Opening range de hoy 20 de mayo. Faltan 5 minutos. Justo 5 minutos. El que habla atrás es Pax, un operador que estuvo en los pit entre el 2000, en los 2000 y movía era aquel que movía más contratos en el pit del Nasdaq.
I'm not going to get, you know, too married to the idea of a rally or a break. We're going to take it easy, and we're going to trade live price action.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Real-time information to make real-time trading decisions. We don't have anything out today either. You know, Tuesday, November 20th, the calendar is very quiet. We have some FOMC speakers, but, you know, nothing of importance. Nothing huge, nothing to move us. So we either get some continuation to the upside, or we're going to just, I don't think we break, or we, more than likely what we're going to do is continue to churn the yearly opening range, in which case I am not willing to spend any money in this market.
No estamos dispuestos a gastar dinero en este mercado.
You know, when I suggest to people, well, I mean, not spending money in the market does not mean we don't trade. But everybody else wants, you know, they want trade alerts. Give me a trade alert. Give me a trade alert. Show me a chart. Give me a chart. Let's overlay a 15-minute with an hourly and a 20-minute.
Se debería escuchar, sí. Se está escuchando.
Fucking tick chart, and see if we can't come out with a little tradey poo. That's 90% of traders fail.
90% de los traders fallan. ¿Por qué? Porque no siguen un proceso. You don't follow a process.
This market is going higher, lower, or nowhere. If it's going higher, I want to be long.
429, 435.
If we're going higher above the opening range, I want to be long to the first 15 handles. Same on the equidistant swing on another 15 handles, right? If we're going low, I want to be short. Now, we will have big swing positions from our opening ranges and from our macro zones, and we'll have big trend positions in some cases. But to push and to fight on every wiggle and every tick is a passport to poverty. The whole important part of being a long-term profitable trader is knowing when to spend money, when not to spend money, and when to leverage the money you've locked in as profit. How do you add to your positions without adding to your risk? Every time I say that, 90% of traders think I'm full of shit. Traders that actually pay attention and hang around this group for a little bit of time, you might not learn how to increase your size today if the market doesn't give us an opportunity to. But stick around. You'll see how to go from a 4 lot to a 40 lot. And then you'll put yourself in a position to be a long-term profitable trader. You'll put yourself in a position to become financially, emotionally, and spiritually free. You'll put yourself in a position to be able to buy back your time in life and to be able to control it. It's not about your stats and about how many little wiggles you catch on a chart.
Falta un minuto para la apertura. Estamos preparados para hacer trading. Un minuto para la apertura. 1 minuto para la apertura.
All right, let's all jump in a live trade with me now.
Así que dejamos estos trades a las manos de Dios. Todo está en manos del Señor. Todo es para su honra, todo es para su gloria. Todo es para su reino, la verdad. No buscamos vanidad, tampoco buscamos el dinero. Buscamos hacer un buen proceso, una buena ejecución. Y todo está en manos de Dios. Faltan 20 segundos, 21. Sí, Señor, te damos las gracias por este día. Trae sabiduría. Trae sabiduría.
Can't
Tu nombre,
express to
Señor
you the
Jesús.
importance of knowing when to increase your size, decrease your size in that trade.
Ya, falta poco.
Cannot at all express to you. 3, 2, 1.
It's open.
In the yearly opening range, no good. Nasdaq still above it, still can't get above it. I think 61.5 was the opening print.
Yeah.
Anybody want to be aggressive?
63.5.
You can use that level as your pivot. Use that price anyway, then a level.
59.25. Ah, sigue rompiendo.
Cold and rainy.
Bueno, ya. 64.5. Este es. Y rompió. No. Y rompió con fuerza. Ya, bien. Veamos si entro. Scratch.
Order submitted.
Entró. Estoy adentro. Estoy long. Vale, con fuerza. Sube. Sube. Con fuerza.
59.75 to
Me protejo.
MNQ.
Order filled.
Y me sacó.
We are
64.5.
bid on pretty much the first attempt. So
Pay
if you're
line.
long 64 quarters, you got a scratch stop in here.
Ya.
Cannot lose money. Anxiety gone. Pay for these at 68 quarter.
Puedo haber puesto. A ver, este volvió a entrar. Stop tab.
Oh, fuck.
Y entró otra vez.
Nasdaq is 430. I'm going to be less inclined to.
Recuerden, dale tu tiempo a los mercados,
I'm less inclined to buy these 64 quarters.
no tu dinero.
Nasdaq weaker, but you know what? These are manageable 64 quarter buys.
Ah, no lo puse.
Every time you buy them, you get the edge. So I'm looking for the Nasdaq and the S&P matchups as clues, but I'm not going to make an S&P trading decision based off a Nasdaq price action. Actually, I do, but I try not to.
Pax acaba de decir que no basa sus decisiones de trading en el S&P según el Nasdaq. O sea, si hay price action en el Nasdaq, él no va a abrir una operación en el S&P. O no debería, pero lo hace a veces. Pero es porque están correlacionados. Los movimientos del Nasdaq y del S&P están correlacionados. Así que si uno sube, el otro también debería subir. A ver.
Actually, I bought a double unit. All right, sure.
Puedo haber entrado.
I'm long double unit at 64 quarter.
Sure.
Oh, I'm out.
I'm out. No lo veo muy interesante este trade.
Reinitiate. These are the ones that are going to pay. You son. Samana Beach.
No hay mucho movimiento. Ya, ahí está, te cargas con más. Price action. Mi gato me está maullando. Voy a entrar por otro lado. Estoy trabajando, querido. Vamos a poner musiquita. Mientras. No veo mucha acción del precio. No, no está muy interesante hacer trading, está subiendo, está bajando. Lo que nosotros queremos es que si rompe este punto, este tick, y está por aquí el precio, yo me voy largo. Pero si se dan cuenta, está subiendo y está bajando, subiendo, bajando, y vuelva dentro del open range. Acá, entre el open range high y el open range low, no se abre operación.
Order submitted.
No abre
Order
operación.
canceled.
Prohibido. Porque en este rango de los primeros 30 segundos es donde los high frequency traders o los algoritmos de trading de alta frecuencia de bancos, instituciones financieras, hedge funds, bueno, fondos de cobertura, ¿qué más? De empresas de pensiones, todo ese tipo de cosas, seguros, aseguradoras, abren sus algoritmos y abren operaciones acá. Y el que gana con más fuerza es el que hace el price action hacia arriba o hacia abajo. Y está bajando. Así que se ve interesante esto. Vale, está. Vamos a ver qué está diciendo Pax.
Buys 4 quarters and they're offering you take an immediate expense. The market is not trying to get above that level, so we stop trading it. I will take as long as I'm trading minis. I will take scratch after scratch after scratch until the market tells me it's not trying to go in that area. So once we came back 64 quarter bid, we came back offered, went inside the opening range. Once the market gets back inside the opening range, then it becomes neutral again, right? Once think of the opening range as a room. 59.75 to 64 quarter is a room. If the market is inside that room, I am flat. If the market is above it, I'm long. If the market's below it, I'm short, or at least I'm looking to be.
No buscamos largos ahora, si es que llega a subir porque ya lo intentó, así que tal vez en el payline podría ser como por aquí. Así que ahora llevo un scratch. A ver, debería verse ahí, 10 dolaritos. Scratch, no perdí dinero. Tampoco gané. Como que cubre comisiones, por así decirlo.
Remember, everybody, we're trading N, crude, CLEN. Trading July, Contango, or backwardation, whatever the fuck. Backwardation? Wait, I gotta look.
No veo mucha fuerza.
Oh, I get rid of June. Are we in Contango? We're in Contango, right? Oh no, we're in backwardation.
A ver ahora.
I don't know what those words mean.
Veo muy poca fuerza. No me gusta este trade.
I am putting my
Tal-
fucking holster away.
Tal vez cuando lo rompa quiera irse para arriba. Pero mira, metieron estas 683 órdenes y la tiraron para abajo. Miren cómo cayó, miren cómo cayó. 183, 16, 81. Y acá muy pocas en comparación. Ganó las ofertas, ganaron las ventas a mercado. Por eso se fue para abajo. Pero también hay que estar súper pendiente de las órdenes límite. ¿Cuáles son las que están ganando aquí?
Oh no, I'm going to sell these. Okay, here we go. I wasn't willing to buy those 64 quarters anymore, but I'm going to sell these 15.
Ya, se va para abajo.
Right now.
Vamos a vender.
I'm short. I'll sell more. If you can't get out, put
Order.
moron.
Order submitted. Order failed.
Ya, me estupió.
Those
Expense.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Veamos.
I am still short. Market tried to rally, couldn't. I'm out.
Y no.
Market tried to rally, couldn't. Now it's going to try
No.
to break. Ooh, I sold 60s. I preempted it.
Order.
I sold it a little
Order
fast.
submitted.
I got an extra thick of lead on it.
Order
Ah,
failed.
Thick of edge. I'm out.
ya. I'm out.
Fuck it. I'll wait for the pain line on the short side now too.
Sí, payline nomás. Fome. 55.25. Este es el payline. ¿Cuánto llevamos? 90 dólares. Ya, bueno, es que igual aumenté el size. Tenía 8 contratos. Y le di 5 ticks, igual me pasé.
Holy shit, Brian, are you here? Ruby, are you here? Can you hear me? No, Ruby. Ruby dot underscore ES. Holy shit, dude. That was some scary.
¿Qué más? Paciencia. Como que quiere, no quiere. Ya. Rompió. Veamos qué dice Pax. Ya, veamos si llega el payline. Miren cómo se empieza. Comienza la velocidad de órdenes. Comienza la velocidad de órdenes. Entran. Pero no están moviendo el precio. No están moviendo el precio. Miren, casi 300, 400 órdenes y no pudieron mover el precio. Y estos ahora van negativos. Quedaron atrás. Eso significa absorción. Y miren, volvió a entrar a la Pro Range. Se les debe haber ejecutado una orden de venta. O tal vez se van a poner a defender con órdenes límite, cosa que no lo creo porque sería muy riesgoso. Ya, ahora comenzó la baja. Veamos si rompe de nuevo. ¿Cómo rompe? Miren. Qué preciosidad.
Order submitted.
¡No!
Order.
Ya está.
Order submitted.
¡Ah! ¡Conchetu!
Order failed.
Fuck. Se me devolvió mucho. 135. Shoot. Shoot. Bueno. Tengo que configurarla aquí, la hotkey. Ya, yo voy a entrar ahora en los painline. No pretendo entrar en las rupturas. Ya ha habido 1, 2, 3. Corté el size en esta. Así que entro acá.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Si este negocio no es fácil, si dicen que es fácil. No, compra solamente cuando rompe y listo. No, si no es fácil, no es fácil esta cosa. Como si fuera fácil. Si fuese fácil, todos serían millonarios ahora. Lo veo como indeciso. Ya, pues, high frequency traders. Algoritmos, metan sus órdenes, po. O les dan cuquito. 44.25. Rotación 1. Chuta. Mira, sí vamos. Menos $135. Igual duele, ¿eh? Cuánto fondeada. Pero a la calma. A la calma. No me meto la cabeza. ¿Va a romper? No lo sé. Miren, miren el Nasdaq. Miren esta cochinada. Pero cuando tenga el swing, va a ser precioso. Estamos de vuelta. No está haciendo mucho, ¿eh? No está haciendo mucho esta cosa. Pero hay que ser paciente nomás.
Order submit. Order canceled.
Ya, aquí igual fueron error míos. Dejé que 5 ticks al final de stop, no 10. Digo, no 4 o 3. Que perdí $20 más. My mistake. Aquí todo más o menos bien. Pero estos dos. Nasdaq, ¿cómo está? Está ahí. 406. Reach low. Ya rompió. Nasdaq rompió. Jesucristo ganó la batalla. Qué bendición es poder saber eso. Para que no me desconcentre. Ya, el Nasdaq, miren cómo va. A ver, igual está muy volátil el Nasdaq, demasiado volátil. No sé si vieron eso, cómo rompió hacia abajo los niveles. Ya, veamos. Veamos. No. Esto se va con swing, así que
Order submitted. Order. Order submitted.
listo. Baja, cae, 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 cae. Eso que va, cae, 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 cae. Eso. Mantener sus niveles. Eso, llévelo, llévelo. No, no, no te devuelvas, no. Dale, rompan, 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 rompan. Sigan rompiendo, sigan rompiendo. Ustedes pueden, ustedes pueden. Bien, ya me protejo. Voy a poner mi target como por acá. Voy a poner otro por aquí. Voy a bajar esto. Uno. Ya, dale, con fuerza, con fuerza, con fuerza, con fuerza. No. 4 por mientras. Por si se me devuelve. Porque aún no me toca aquí este primer. Dale, rómpelo, 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 rómpelo.
Order
Eso.
failed.
Qué rico. Vamos con todo, vamos con todo. Muy buen trade, qué buen trade. Yo veía, ay, se me va a devolver.
Order
Se me
failed.
devolvió
Order submitted.
y... ay, no,
Order. Order submitted. Order failed.
ya. A ver. Se devolvió esta cosa. Wow. Pero
Order.
voy a volver a entrar.
Order submitted.
Volví a entrar. No te devuelvas. No te devuelvas.
Order failed.
Ah, se me devolvió. $151. Bueno, chuta. Ya. Y está volviendo a caer esta cosa.
aggressively doing anything in this congestion. We need to clear this in order to get, we need to clear the, we just need to clear this entire area. Yeah, Derek, or it's telling me that it's about the price action of the bonds and gold. So gold is rallying, bonds are breaking, and the S&P and NASDAQ are still sitting, churning the yearly opening range, but sitting. I know the NASDAQ is down 100 points from yesterday, but still, it's right within, this yearly OR area. It's fucking not easy. This is just not easy.
No es fácil capturar un trade así. Miren, $151 menos, porque como están muy volátiles estas cosas a veces, es muy complicado porque se te puede devolver, ¡pam! Y si queremos seguir el proceso de PAX, a ver, 15.25, ya estos estuvieron bien, como bien cortitos, igual aquí tal vez me pasó un poquito, pero este de 23, ya, pero tranquilo, chill out, aún queda día, aún queda día. Veamos qué está diciendo Pax. Bueno, porque creo que estuvo bajando, que va a irse un rally hacia abajo. Bueno, el creo, la verdad no me sirve mucho. Pero ayer fue un rally para arriba muy fuerte. Estábamos muy cerca de los 6.000 puntos. O sea, loco, imagínense, 6.000 puntos. Eso fue en febrero o enero estábamos con 6.000 puntos. Mira, y se fue para abajo.
I didn't buy into that until I was trading on the screen. Why would I take a trade just to scratch it? Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm either going to make money or lose money on it. That was my thinking. And then when I was on the screens and trying to figure out how to make
Voy a bajar mi size.
computers, 2013, 14, kind of dawned on me. Holy shit, a scratch is in fact as good as a winner. How many times have you guys had a trade on? Like, say you bought 59.60s, you're long 59.60s, and you're sitting here, it's 7, 8, 9, 10 points against you. All right, if it gets back up there, I'm going to scratch him. It gets back up there, I'm just going to get out and take the scratch. And it gets back up there, you don't do it. You don't take the scratch. You wind up, puking them at like 20 points below that. And it's just it's a horrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. Like this whole business is not real hard.
Mire, está subiendo ahora. Mire.
It doesn't take a lot of talent to make money. All you have to do is just really click the mouse and you have a 50-50 shot of making money. It's keeping it and growing it that is the trick. It's keeping it and growing it. It's the trick. And you only need to get rich once. Whatever that means to you. The way that we trade is we protect the beginning balance of our statement every day. If I've got 50,000 in my account, that's not risk capital. I'm willing to spend, depending on the size I'm trading. If I'm trading an 8 lot, I'm willing to spend 1,600 on an 8 lot, as that's a pay line. But once I do, and we get to that first 15 handle rotation, and I'm up, 1,500 on a 4 lot or 3,000-4,000 on an 8 lot. That becomes my new beginning balance, and I need to protect it. I reset every trade. If I can do that, continue to reset, protect that beginning balance in every single trade, then I'm much more likely to keep the money and to grow it. So know when to trade.
No voy a operar ahora. No voy a operarlo. Está muy choppy, como le dicen. No me muestra mucha dirección el mercado, la verdad. Voy a marcar los niveles aquí. 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1. Aquí es Open Range High. Voy a quitar la T. 4, 4, 1, 4, 4, 1. Esto es Payline. Pero mira, aquí rompió. Ya está subiendo. El Nasdaq. Digo, el S&P. El ES. Voy a ver si nuestro compa el Michi está en directo. Nuestro compa el Michi está en directo. Veamos qué está haciendo este hombre. Está long, con 12 contratos en los minis. ¿O en los micros? No, está en los micros. ¿Vieron? ¿Vieron toda esta subida? Toda esta subida. De aquí tengo la transmisión del Michi. Estas velas verdes así son deltas. El delta es que fueron más positivas las órdenes a mercado en compra que las órdenes a mercado en venta. Eso significa que aquí subió demasiado por eso. El delta positivo, por ende, toda la subida, pero llegó hasta al Open Range High, subió un poquito, lo más probable es que aquí las absorbieron si pudiese ver el footprint, pero no hay mucho. No voy a hacer bien. El Nasdaq en el Open Range, el S&P también. Aquí vamos a sacar las manos del mouse porque no se ve mucho a estas alturas. Están puro peleando aquí. Estoy en un grupo de WhatsApp con unos amigos. Estoy en un grupo de WhatsApp con unos amigos y están peleando. Onda, son un grupo de trading. Están puro peleando. Hay mucho. Aquí rompió, pero se devolvió. No hay un movimiento claro en el Nasdaq. Yo no tradeo el Nasdaq, solamente lo tengo aquí para ver cómo va el precio. En el S&P entramos en las rotaciones hacia el alza o hacia la baja. No voy a entrar ni en el payline, ni en el payline de arriba de abajo, tampoco en la ruptura del Open Range High ni en el Open Range Low. Están literalmente peleando caleta. Buen punto. Rompió hacia abajo, veamos cómo le va. peleando demasiado estos hombres. Llevan peleando desde ayer y no llegan a ninguna conclusión. Bueno, vamos a poner un poquito de musiquita por mientras. Esta.
Hold on, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Hold on. I got to start this motherfucking record over again. Wait a minute. Fuck that shit. Still on this motherfucking record. I'ma play this motherfucker for y'all. Hey, y'all get some more drinks going on. I sound a whole lot better.
No está haciendo mucho este precio, no está haciendo nada. No hay swing. Menos $151. Oh, es que está muy buena la pelea. Se la mostraría, pero no. Por privacidad no lo hago. No está haciendo nada el precio. No está haciendo mucho. Déjate. De Mac, pero no está abajo. No está haciendo nada el precio. Está cayendo el precio. Está cerca del payline. El Nasdaq ya está bastante bien abajo.
I can't change it, the reason you love me. Listen, you can hear them calling my name. I'm all over the place, I can't sit in one place. I'm not ashamed at all. Still finding myself, let alone a soulmate, I'm just saying. Feel like we one and the same, our relationship changed. That or it never existed. Whenever they say something about us, you listen. But fuck what they talking about on your timeline. That's cutting all into my time with you. Fuck what they talking about on your timeline. That's cutting all into my time with you. My time with you, my. Rock me real slowly. Put a bit on me. I'm just like a baby drooling over you. The things you do. She says you're my everything. I love you through everything. I done did everything to her. She forgave me for everything. This a forever thing. Hate that I treat it like it's a whatever thing. Trust me, girl, this shit is everything to me. She from the jungle. She from the jungle. I take somebody else's car. Drive it undercover. This shit is everything to me. This shit is everything. Don't know where we
Está muy buena la pelea. Mi compa es cristiano y se puso a pelear con los del grupo por trading. ¿Para qué? No tengo ni idea.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
El precio sigue así, lleva 45 minutos así, no ha hecho mucho.
Are you down for the cause? Are you down? Are you down? Are you down? Are you down for the cause? You still
Down, you still down, you still down. A ver.
I'm trying to keep my faith. We on a ultralight beam. We on a ultralight beam.
This is a God dream.
This is a God dream. This is everything. This is everything. Deliver us serenity. Deliver us peace. Deliver us
No sé qué
love,
pasa.
yeah. We know we need.
No voy a seguir hablando en el grupo porque ya me tienen chato. Di lo que pude haber dicho. A ver, voy a ver qué dicen aquí. Por el compu que está en el celular y no me gusta ver cosas en el celular.
This is a God dream. This is a God dream. This is a God dream. We on a
Ultralight beam. Ultralight beam.
This is a God dream. This is a God dream. This is everything.
Alabado sea el Señor siempre por todos los siglos, por los siglos de los siglos. Amén.
I'm trying to keep my faith, but I'm looking for more. Somewhere I can feel safe, and in my holy war, I'm trying to keep my faith.
Why send oppression, not blessings? Why, oh why you do me wrong? You persecute the weak because it makes you feel so strong. Don't have much strength to fight.
Mira, imagínense haber tomado estos trades. Perder, perder, perder. Aquí entré. Veamos acá. Aquí, si hubiéramos entrado en el payline, lo tocó nomás. Perder. Es puro perder plata, ¿viste? No hay que entrar en estas situaciones, no hay que entrar, no hay que
Order
apretar el
submitted.
botoncito.
Order canceled.
I will shield your name. I will field their questions. I will feel your pain. No one can judge.
They don't know.
Foot on the devil's neck till it drifted Pangea. I'm moving all my family from Chatham to Zambia. Treat the demons just like Pam. I mean, I fuck with your friends, but damn, Gina, I've been this way since Arthur was Anteater. Now they wanna hit me with the woo out the bam. Trying to snap photos of family. My daughter look just like Sia. You can't see her. You can feel the lyrics, the spirit coming in braille. Tumbling of the underground, come and follow the trail. I made Sunday candy, I'm never going to hell. I met Kanye West, I'm never going to fail. You said let's do a good ass job with Chance 3. I hear you gotta sell it to snatch the Grammy. Let's make it so free and the bar so hard that it ain't one gosh darn part. You can't tweet. This is my part, nobody else speak. This is my part, nobody else speak. This little light of mine. Glory be to God, yeah. I'ma make sure that they go where they can't go. If they don't wanna ride, I'ma still give them raincoats. Know what God said when he made the first rainbow? Just notice at the end if I'm too late for the intro. I'm just having fun with it. You know that a nigga was lost. I laugh in my head cause I bet
¿Qué más podemos hacer? No voy a seguir hablando en el grupo. Aquí están peleando. No hacen mucho. Estaban peleando demasiado. Les empezaron a mandar cosas de la CME. Yo le empecé a decir al compa, te pido perdón de parte del grupo. Donde yo no le dije nada malo, pero el compa creo que era como... tiene pinta mexicano, sí. Creo que era mexicano el compa. De haber tenido, no sé, unos 25 o 30 años. Y se empezaron a pelear ayer. No, ni me acuerdo de por qué. De algo del COT, de los reportes que hacen los bancos de las instituciones los viernes en la tarde. Están obligados a hacerlos. Y no sé por qué se pusieron a pelear. Yo le vi como caleta de razón el compa. Pero este men es cristiano. Disculpen, estoy tomando agua. Este men es cristiano. Porque mencionó la Biblia y dijo, cabrón, porque, a ver, un amigo del grupo, un socio, le dijo, mira, recomiéndame libros para poder leer de trading. Y él le dijo la Biblia, pero es un libro para que puedas mejorar tu actitud. Pero esa es tampoco
Order
manera,
submitted.
anda,
Order canceled.
no está reflejando el reino de Cristo al final, no está reflejando una vida de
Order
reino.
submitted. Order canceled.
Si uno comienza no sé, creo que lee la Biblia para que mejores tu vida, lo está diciendo como de manera sarcástica y no es algo que a Dios le gusta. O creo que, según mi opinión, la cual puede ser errónea, no creo que es algo que a Dios le guste. Mencionar las Santas Escrituras como diciéndole, lee la Biblia para que mejores tu Biblia. Es como decirlo de manera sarcástica, especialmente peor siendo uno cristiano, que cree en Dios, que teme a Dios, y que supuestamente cuando uno recibe el Espíritu Santo, cuando uno cree en nuestro Señor Jesucristo como Rey y Salvador de nuestra vida y de nuestra alma, y según eso, cae el Espíritu Santo sobre nosotros. El Espíritu Santo nos da discernimiento, nos da convicción y nos da sabiduría. Somos sabios cuando creemos en Jesús. Y nuestro compa que es cristiano se pone a pelear. Onda, yo comprendo que los del grupo estaban molestos. Onda, en realidad no lo comprendo, no te ríen porque están molestos cuando hay una diferencia de ideas. Pero al fin y al cabo, mi compa cristiano, siendo cristiano, él siguió tirando leña al fuego. Y eso para mí es hipócrita. ¿Por qué vas a seguir tirando leña al fuego si eso no va a traer ninguna bendición? Si nosotros aquí en este mundo estamos para ser reflejos de Cristo. ¿Y qué significa eso? Servir a los demás, amar a mi prójimo como a mí mismo. Y si nuestro compa está tirando leña al fuego en un sentido en el que sigue peleando y pelea y pelea y pelea y cree tener la razón, eso es orgullo. Eso es poner tu idea sobre el otro, y eso no es correcto. Y menos cuando estamos hablando de Dios. Porque yo siendo cristiano y estoy hablando de una persona que no cree en Dios, y esta persona, yo veo que me está poniendo sus ideas por sobre mí, yo no voy a hacerlo, yo no voy a hacer eso. Yo tengo que ser una persona de cambio en este mundo. Entonces, si este compa sigue tirando leña, sigue poniendo sus ideas sobre las de él, poniendo sus ideas sobre las del grupo, como que no va a traer nada bueno, ninguna bendición. Entonces, y más encima es cristiano, que es lo peor. Como que me da pena pensar que hay gente, porque yo soy cristiano, onda, me considero un discípulo de Dios, me considero una persona con sabiduría, con una identidad clara, soy un hijo de Dios, rescatado de las tinieblas, renovado, hecho una criatura nueva, y me pongo a pelear por un grupo de WhatsApp, por una cosa estúpida. Eso no es algo que refleja a Cristo. Qué fome el día de hoy, la verdad. No muy no emocionante, no me gusta ocupar esa palabra. Siento que esto no tiene por qué ser emocionante. Onda sí, emocionante
Order
sí,
submitted.
onda,
Order
es bacán
canceled.
hacerte un trade de $500 y ayer me hice casi uno de 400. Pero no hay mucho movimiento. Acá trabajando. Open range. No hace mucho. Buen punto. Mira, nuestro compa, no voy a decir su nombre, que es el que está como causando ruido, el cristiano. Nuestro compa es analista de análisis macroeconómico. Y nosotros somos más análisis de order flow. Bueno, que están directamente relacionados, pero no...
Order
no,
submitted.
a ver,
Order submitted. Order canceled.
tampoco soy un experto yo en esto, pero análisis macro y análisis de order flow claramente están directamente relacionados. Porque el análisis de macro influye en el análisis de order flow.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Pero se pusieron a pelear estos compas, no traen nada. Yo hice mi pega, le hablé al compa, que era el único que le podía hablar, así como directamente, como era cristiano, el único que me iba a entender. Y sigue peleando. Onda, no, ahora se le bajó las revoluciones, pero este men. No sé, todo es muy. No sé, las personas a veces son muy hipócritas. Still don't trust. Después de responder este compa. Ya bueno, quebró, rompió. Veamos qué hace el directo del Michi. Él está shorteó el Michi. Veamos qué dice el Pax. No veo que esté diciendo mucho. Hay que esperar solamente.
Been married and divorced 3 times since me, and me and Jen have been married for 20 years. Happy. Of course she's negative.
Estas no las debía haber hecho porque se van a 21, 25 más 15, eso es 40. O ese sería 110. Y se devolvió.
Isn't it one of the hallmarks of a fascist, totalitarian regime? A government that blatantly lies to its people and press corps that dutifully repeats those lies in propaganda? Isn't that fucking ironic that that all of the leftists accuse Trump of being a fucking fascist?
Order submitted. Order.
What a bunch of
Order submitted.
people,
Propaganda.
fucking morons, don't even know what it is. One of the hallmarks, it's from Tom Bevan from Real Clear Politics. One of the
Aquí entramos short en el Nasdaq, veamos qué es lo que hace. Si me estopea o no. Es una cuenta simulada por si acaso, así que no me interesa mucho. Veamos cómo vi que está aquí en el Payline. Onda, en una cuenta real no hubiera hecho este trade. No veo price action. No veo que esté bajando. Lo que yo busco es un movimiento fuerte. Lo que yo busco son movimientos como así. Bam, caídas fuertes, rápidas. O relativamente rápidas. Price action. Harto flujo de órdenes de mercado en venta o en compra dependiendo. Si son harto flujo de órdenes a mercado en venta en el open range low, yo me voy corto al tiro. Aquí, si empiezan a ver 100, 100, 200, 200 en este lado, yo
Order
empecé a
submitted.
dar lo
Order
necesario.
canceled.
A ver, aquí metieron casi 200
Order
y
failed.
me estopió. Veamos si vuelve a hacer algo esta cuestión. No veo que estén haciendo mucho. El S&P está sí, igual, pero va a romper en algún momento, va a tener un swing.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Debería tener un swing y me va a
Order
estopear.
failed.
Sí. temazo este. Oh, cuando Travis Scott cantó esta canción en su concierto aquí en Chile, fue espectacular. ¿Cuánto llevamos negativo? $151. ¿Y cuántas órdenes llevamos? ¿Esta no cuenta? Así. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eso significa que en promedio cada orden perdí 151 dividido en 7, $21. Ya. Debería ser un poquito más pequeño. Aquí solamente hay que esperar, chiquillos. Hay que esperar solamente, hay que esperar, ser paciente. No podemos mover el mercado. Tampoco me voy a poner a abrir órdenes cada vez que rompa hacia arriba o hacia abajo. Eso sería ingenuo de mi parte. Probablemente como a las 11:30 podrían haber movimientos más fuertes, pero no lo sé. No lo sé. Yo no puedo predecir el mercado, solo sigo lo que el mercado hace. Si el mercado se va para arriba, yo voy para arriba. Si el mercado lateraliza, no hago nada. Aisha Yash. Jesus is King. Yeah.
Look in my eyes, tell me your tale. Do you see the road? I'm out to my soul. Tell me the size whenever the smoke clear out of my face. And my picture perfect, do I look fried?
All of the green and yellow eyes.
Tell you demise, I'm with to my side. To push back the ceiling and push back the feelings I had to the
Jesus replied, you don't know, realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand. Amen. I called on the Lord in my distress, and He answered me. Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, for everything that you have done. ¿El Michi qué está haciendo? Nuestro compa Michi está shorteo. Anytime I do, never mind. Yeah, please.
Order submitted.
Never
Order
mind.
canceled.
Pero es que esta cosa no está dando nada, tío. This thing is doing nothing. Nothing. Y cuando abrió acá. Es esta vela. Pongámosle que es esta vela. No ha hecho nada. Miren. Nada. No ha hecho nada. Absolutamente nada. Tal vez. Hay que esperar solamente. Just wait. We have to wait. Wait. Veamos si Pax está diciendo algo interesante.
And it's sitting right on top of the gamma wall of where options guys are positioned. So unless cash gets above like 59.55, the market's not going to go up. And unless it gets below 59.35 in cash, it's just going to sit in this 20-point range.
So does anybody
So-
know why this is? Why this area would be the gamma wall?
It's just because it just dynamically updates only because of as options positions get put on and taken off, it sort of constructs it. I could drop a picture of what it looks like into
Well,
the
it's the yearly opening range, Paul. That's it. That's
Oh,
it.
got it.
You know,
But
it-
what's
steady on the year.
interesting, and
Steady on the year.
I put this in the room early yesterday. There were a couple really big options trades that got printed
Uy, pero ¿qué pasó acá?
after the close on Friday.
Miren esta
One
subida.
was a massive
Ya.
purchase of 6,000 calls, which had, like a 2% delta,
Bueno.
and it was
Así me
interesting,
gusta. Eso es lo que yo quería.
whoever
Eso, que metiesen
sold
hartas
that.
órdenes. ¿Viste? Había que esperar. Había que
I
esperar.
kind of think it was maybe someone front running this
Pero veamos
downgrade
si
that
es
was
algo
coming
interesante, po.
after the close, just to keep the market a bit elevated. But whoever sold that spent almost all day yesterday covering that position.
Huh.
There's been a lot of funky stuff going through after the market in terms of options prints, and there's just a little bit of increased speculation that maybe the Treasury is working with some of these sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East, particularly, to sort of, help.
Wrap it up.
Order submitted.
Yep.
No.
And then interesting. So the plunge
Entra,
protection team is out and hidden stimulus.
Order
Hidden
submitted.
stimulus with these.
And I don't quite know the net effect because I haven't looked that deeply into it, but I was reading something that said that the Treasury had spent about $46 or $47 billion in the bond market last week, mopping up some excess liquidity.
Igual entra un poco arriba.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Miren estas 200 órdenes. Y por aquí están casi parecidas. Pero veamos cómo actúan las
Order
órdenes.
filled. Order filled.
Fuck. Stop out. Stop fail. Bueno. entonces llegamos a la rotación o cuando esté por aquí. Vamos a esperar hasta la rotación, veamos cómo actúa ahí el precio.
Donald Trump is no longer a felon, right? Did they vacate those bullshit?
No, I think they're still on. I don't think they vacated anything. Tisha James is going to jail, though.
Good.
I mean, what she did is absolute mortgage fraud. If what she did, if what they're saying is true, she committed.
Married to her dad. Fuck. I'm not gonna argue with these liberals on fucking Facebook.
Listo.
My cousins, my
Le
aunts.
echaron a nuestro compa. Yo pensé que se iba a ir.
Fucking mute him again.
It's what Kenny used to say to me. You're arguing with the guy at the drive-thru.
Yeah. Yeah, my Aunt Betty. All right.
Operamos la rotación.
80, 59.80. Will I get long there? That's a 15 handle rotation, right? 59.89-ish.
$64.15. 5. Aquí está nuestra rotación. Esperamos hasta acá.
Order submitted.
Ahí metemos
Order submitted.
22 órdenes stop para ver cómo nos sale esto. Pruebas de fondeo. La mentira.
Order canceled.
Qué grande.
Another person fucking comes in on a trial and then quits right away. Oh, why the fuck waste your time or mine if you're not going to actually learn how to trade? You want to think and live and act like every other cunt in the world? Well, keep doing it. Keep getting the same fucking results you've always gotten then. That's a strange thing. It's weird to me. Whatever. Canceled. See ya. Don't wanna fucking be ya. It's a weird thing. Weird fucking thing. Sign up at 7:20, fucking cancel at 8. Whatever. I can't help everybody, can I? I can't help those that don't want to be fucking, that don't want to learn.
Creo que como echaron a nuestro compa, listo, estamos más tranquilitos. Todo chilado.
Good afternoon. Wondering if you have any broker statements verifying yearly profits. Yes, let me show you, unnamed cunt. In the email. Let me show you that I'm up 3.5
Let me see you
million for
right
the year,
now,
you
will you give it up?
fucking little cunt. I just wrote back, LOL.
Hay que esperar hasta que llegue aquí. Aquí
Order
va a
submitted.
reaccionar fuerte.
Order submit. Order canceled.
Alright, so we ain't doing shit.
A ver, veamos qué va a decir.
I have no patience for people like that. No patience for, you know, people that want to be catered to and spoon fed and fucking whatever. This is a lifelong journey, and you want to get the same results that everybody else has. Keep doing the same thing and keep thinking like them.
I mean, it's human nature. I mean, it's people
No,
are
it's
just
not. No, it's not.
He really-
It's not human nature. Human nature is, our human nature is that we are made in the image and likeness of God, that we're intellectual, spiritual beings. That's our nature. Our nature is not that we're fallen, it's Manichaeism, and that's dualism. We're not that. We're not sinful by nature. That's not it either. Nature is our nature is that we are inquisitive, intellectual beings. So we're on a pursuit of every day doing better, being better, or we're not. People that are lazy and told that they're victims of everything and everybody else, well, you know what? Those are people that are going to, you know what? Look, I think I was talking, I don't know if I was talking about this with Anthony or if I was talking about it in the room yesterday, but all of these funding companies, these funding companies, not prop, they're not prop, but these funding companies, which pass themselves off as prop, are absolutely destructive. These people that are affiliate people, whatever, these in air quotes influencers that are making hundreds of thousands a month, millions a year, pushing these things and running around stirring up controversy in order to drum up whatever you call it, engagements. They make a ton of money because these funding companies only make money when you fail and you reset, and their fucking rules and all of this. So it's not trading, and the restrictions that they place on trading is unbelievably bad. It's not productive, and you can't make money long term with it, which is why these funding companies all make millions of dollars. Stick and carrot and stick and carrot and stick and carrot. The cult of ICT, maybe they're, like I said yesterday, but those prop groups, those funding companies brought futures trading to a whole generation of young, or maybe not so young, traders. And then you got the cult of ICT, and there are things about that he has summarized a whole lot of different trading things that he had put together. He sold it, marketed in his own, and that in and of itself is destructive too. But at the same time, he has taught some people that there is in fact a way of making money. So now hopefully those people are on a path, like there are ICT people in here that are finally making money in their career, and a lot of it because they're able to put things together. They come here to find truth. They come here to find a real pattern of trading that is consistent, repeatable, and scalable. And they're willing to put in the work. And when you're willing to put in the work, both physically, mentally, intellectually, and spiritually, you put yourself in a position to make money. You put yourself in a position to make money long term. But if you want to continue to think and act and trade like these people that are fucking YouTube streaming, by all means, go ahead and do it. – 90% of traders fail. Why do I want to think and act like 90% of traders? More lines on a chart. More short-term charts overlaid with longer-term charts, looking for more reasons to trade. We need less reasons to trade, not more. How many people right now are getting killed in a market literally not going anywhere? We're not trading. I've taken a couple of scratches, that's it. How many people right now are getting killed in a market literally going nowhere? Yesterday was the best trading day that we had in, I don't know, 2 weeks. I wasn't here for it, but I mean, it was the best trading day we had in a while.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
So what do? How do you trade? I look for spots to increase my size. I look for spots to decrease my size. I look for spots not to trade. the market opens in the morning and and I don't have any desire to trade, I'm not going to. All right, I got to block Morgan.
Evan Morgan, you haven't blocked him yet? I don't think it's him, to be honest with you.
Why is he lived out?
Oh, he's so liberal, it's fucking crazy. But shit, now when I worked for him, he was the most racist, fucking anti-everything person in the world. I don't even know who he is. He's crazy.
I just unfollowed him and blocked him.
Maybe he needs to start drinking again.
Oh God, ever tell you a story about him?
Marty, you love.
Order submit. Order canceled.
You know I try, but I don't do too well with apologies. I hope I don't run out of time, cause someone call a referee. Cause I just need one more shot, have forgiveness. I know you know that I made those mistakes maybe once or twice. And by once or twice, I mean maybe a couple of 100 times. So let me redeem on myself tonight. Cause I just need one more shot.
Rompió hacia abajo. Veamos cómo va. Rompió con fuerza, con mucha fuerza. Yo entro en las rotaciones.
Can fill orders, or was he a local?
No, he filled orders. Kevin, you talking about Kevin? Mike's dead. Yeah, Kevin worked for Shearson. He worked for Lehman, Shearson Lehman Hunting. And then I was working. That's why I worked for. I was clerking for them, and I was like, literally making shit money.
Entré en el Nasdaq con la cuenta simulada para ver cómo reacciona el precio. Para ver si esta bajada es buena. Si tiene una.
Order filled.
No estoy bien. ¿Viste? ¿Para qué entrar? Ahí, eso es algo que no haría yo. Y ahí está testeando el open range. Lo está testeando, lo defienden. 132. Veamos si vuelve a entrar o no. Y no entró. Chill.
And then my ex-wife found out how big my bill was, and she freaked out. It was fucking hilarious. 10,000 a month? What's wrong with you? How many
Jeez.
Marlboro Lights do you smoke?
That was the other thing. You always knew if Bruce got your number because there'd be a carton of cigarettes on there.
Yeah.
That just kills me. They sell cigarettes in there.
Well, you used to be able to smoke.
Well, as a bar, you used to be able to smoke on the trading floor.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, it's the smoker's break room. Remember?
No, they used to be able to
And the
smoke on the floor.
in the smoker's bathroom.
Smoke in the pit.
Yeah, and then they moved it off to the edge of the floor. You had to smoke behind the yellow line.
Yeah, God, that's like early '90s, right?
That's
No,
80s.
no. It was before we started, Rob. Like they ended it right before you and I started on the floor.
People were smoking in the members' break room. I mean,
Yeah,
Bueno, no está haciendo mucho el precio. ¿Qué más podemos hacer, la verdad? Metro booming. Nigga. Money on money. Money on money. Suscrito. Money on money. El mercado no está haciendo mucho, la verdad. ¿Qué más podemos hacer si no hace mucho? Si no me da indicaciones para tomar alguna posición, ¿qué más puedo hacer? Está... A ver. No, voy a abrir otro. Nasdaq, MES. Lleva desde las 9:31, que fue, bueno, las 9:30, desde que abre el pit. Lleva ahí zigzag, pim pam, pim pam, pim pam, pim pam. Veamos temporalidades más grandes, tal vez 30 minutos. Miren, la subida de ayer fue muy potente, muy, muy, muy fuerte. Todo muy buena. Puede ser que los algoritmos ahora estén defendiendo algunas instituciones más swing, como fondos de cobertura, puede ser, que ocupan el mercado de futuros para cubrir algunas pérdidas. Están defendiendo un nivel de precio que es... Sí. 59.50, que es el mínimo de acá. Puede que estén defendiendo por aquí. Aquí podríamos ver tal vez algunos imbalances en estas velas. No lo puedo ver porque no tengo el footprint, pero lo más probable es que sí. Por ende, tal vez el día de hoy va a ser más o menos como subiendo y bajando, subiendo y bajando. Lleva así como desde las 4 de la mañana. No, como desde la 1 de la mañana. Acá, horario Nueva York. En horario de Nueva York. Entonces, no está haciendo mucho. ¿Qué más podemos hacer en estos casos? Esperar a que el mercado haga algo. No tradear. Igual ya he abierto operaciones. No sé si cometí algunos errores en la cuenta fondeada. Este fue... Sí, aquí dice cuenta Bullenox. Todo esto es de la cuenta fondeada. $10 me puse break-even. Aquí estaba con 8 contratos, por si acaso ya. Y aquí tuve 2 expenses. $100 igual es harto. Pero dije, ya voy a aumentar el riesgo. Y tuve expenses. Así que corté la mitad, como dice Pax. Acá tuve otro expense, $45. Ah, sí, aquí cometí un error. No debió haber sido $45. El precio se me movió mucho. Entonces, como tocó en teoría mi... Grande de Mac. Tocó en teoría mi stop de emergencia aquí. Porque se me movió muy fuerte, muy rápido, no pude moverlo. Y duró 8 segundos esta cosa. Intenté cerrarlas, pero tuve que apretar el botón de flat. Luego me tocó aquí el payline. Y me había puesto desde antes break-even. Así que seguía con mis 4 contratos. Este me dolió harto. Este trade. Porque perdí más de lo que debía haber perdido. Cuando yo abro 4 contratos, estoy máximo dispuesto a perder $20. O sea, si cada tick te vale 1.25 por 4, eso significa que cada tick te vale $5 por contrato. Y si se te mueve $4, si se te mueve 4 ticks, pierdes $20. Pero eso aquí se me movió casi 8. 9. Me tocó como el stop de emergencia, en teoría. Luego, ya como este me tuvo el payline, seguí operando con los 4 contratos, me volvió a tocar. Y aquí, este trade no lo debía haber hecho, esto fue pura avaricia. No sé si pura avaricia, pero no lo debía haber hecho. Pero fue en el mismo momento. Creo que fue en la misma circunstancia, así que intenté otra vez. Pero no debía haberlo intentado. Día lateral. ZZ todo. Entonces, de aquí abrí con 2 contratos. Este no me acuerdo muy bien, a las 10:40. 10:40. Fue cuando tocó el payline de nuevo. Porque aquí esta vela, estaba viendo el directo del Michi. Aquí está. El directo del Michi. Y fue justo en esta zona. Como estaba el delta positivo. Entonces preferí, abrí con 2 contratos, que fue este trade. Pero se volvió a lateralizar, no rompió, así que seguimos acá. No se puede hacer mucho. Pax, cada vez que ocurre el open range de este rango, y supongamos el open range del día de hoy en el micro del SP, fueron 59.64.5. Así que Pax tiene los 15 puntos de rotación. 15 handle rotation, así le dice. Y que es acá. Y yo le pongo rotación 1. Así que a mí no me interesa entrar en este target, ¿no? Ni tampoco ni en el payline, ni en este target. Aquí en las rotaciones de 15 puntos. Y de verdad, Benja, hermano, no tienes instalado el indicador del delta. No. ¿Cómo se ve? No lo tengo. Mándamelo, hermano. Mándamelo por Gmail. En estos 15 puntos de rotación he visto que hay una cantidad de flujo de órdenes a mercado que yo lo vi ayer y bueno, lo he visto durante todo este tiempo y en realidad, cabrón, funciona como target. Son siempre 15 puntos desde que inicia el open range. Supongamos, si el open range el día de hoy en realidad fue 59.64.5, hay que sumar eso más 15 y te da este fucking numerito. 15 puntos hacia arriba, 15 puntos hacia abajo. Si te da otro open range, bueno, tenés que hacer otra vez, pero con esos números. Y eso, por eso el PAX, A ver, aquí lo tengo. No está hablando el compa. Ahí está hablando. Ahí le voy a subir el volumen. Aló, Pax. ¿Puedes responder, por favor? ¿Puedes decir, estoy aquí? I'm here, bro.
Oh, man.
Si él ni siquiera... Todos están flat. Todos están salidos. Veamos, ¿estará el Michi? No lo veo.
Nah, come on. You don't want to hear. Nobody cares about my opinions on politics. What do you want me to talk about? Give me something to talk about.
I got something to talk about. Did you see Comiskey? I keep calling it that. The White Sox were the Pope sat for
Y eso, pues,
game
cabros.
one of the World Series. They got
Estamos
a
aquí
plaque
transmitiendo, esperando a que
and
ocurra
like
algo.
a picture of him in his
No hay
papal
mucho.
robes, saying this is where Pope Leo XIV sat for game one of the 2006 World Series, or whatever they won.
2005, come on.
I know, I'm sorry. You know,
Oye,
I'm a
el
Cubs
Michi
fan.
está long.
You did that on
El
purpose.
Michi está long porque hubo delta aquí en Las Velas.
God. I'm serious.
Don't swear to God. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. You know, I throw around a lot of F-bombs and trying to bring back the C word again back into the lexicon without it being too offensive. But I try
Oye, se
not to
escucha el
use
Pax,
the
¿no?
words
Debería
that, you know,
escucharse.
Yeah, I gotta stop. That was weird. You know, it's so funny you said that because someone said that people don't know Jesus Christ. They think it's a swear word. I don't know where I heard that.
Hoy día con la
It
cuenta
was
fondeada.
not a swear word. I mean, that was the man's
Sí, se escucha.
point he was trying to make.
Vamos, menos $163.
Knee shall bend every
Ayer
time
perdí
they play.
250, no, así. Ayer fue tan bueno el día. Ayer estuvo muy bonito y le saqué profit, pero con la cuenta
All right, come
simulada.
on. Besides the White Sox or politics.
Pero bueno.
What do you want me to talk about here, my brothers and sisters? Please.
A ver,
Give
le voy
me
a decir.
something to talk about. Anything.
Talk-
We have group today. Don't forget. Group mentoring today. What do you want me
Talk
to talk about?
about
What do you want me to talk about?
your
Anything.
beginning
Funny
doing
stories on the floor.
trading.
Scary stories on
How
the
was
floor.
it?
No, I mean, practical suggestions is, you know, still look at stuff like yesterday, which was pretty easy price action, and the importance of holding on to
Tiempo el
those
tiempo,
trades,
hermano. Literal, hermano, tiempo el tiempo. Si no me mato la cabeza.
cutting yourself.
Si lo importante es ser consistentemente rentable.
I'll talk about
Onda,
that.
no
And
sirve
I'll
sacarte un
answer
trade de
this question
$1,000
too.
si vaya a perder 2,000
Well, we
al
trade
día
out the quarter
siguiente.
units. You know, Chris, if you want to continue to get the same results as everybody else, you're gonna chase out of your positions at 10 points, and then the market's gonna extend 80. And
Oye, Pax tenía 19 años cuando partió haciendo trading.
you know, we
Literalmente
trade
tenía de
out
nuestra
quarter
edad,
units.
cabros.
We come out of the opening range, and I pay for my trade to remove my risk with 4 points in the S&P by selling 1/4 my unit. We get to the first, that becomes my new beginning balance. We get to the first target, you know, 15, 20 points away, whatever that's going to be, and I'm going to sell another one. I'm still going to be long half my unit with stops in at entry. The market extends, and now I'm going to sell another contract, and I'm still long my runner. So now I've got 30 to 60 points into the trade, and depending on what the market did, and this is assuming I did not try to add, and the market is now, you know, at the end of the day, I've got my one lot on, and I have the decision to make whether or not I want to flatten up and take the money or leave something on to see if we get a bigger move. You know, I have I will scratch out a lot of decent trades, 10, 15 points. I'll scratch a lot of those out on a quarter or 2 quarters of my unit. I don't care. That is
Miren cómo ven, cómo aumenta.
to a loss in my book. You know, most people are going to buy 63s and put in a 50 stop,
Pero
or
no pasa nada.
63s and put in a 55 stop, or whatever. They're going to give back. They're going to give up money.
Entramos acá.
Order
Out of
submitted.
the beginning
Order
balance
canceled.
of their statement. See,
O acá
they're
arriba.
protecting
Submitted.
it. I'm going to buy
Order
60s,
canceled.
and the trade is invalidated at 50. I'm going to risk 10 points. I won't do that. I buy 60s, pay for the trade at 64, take profit at 75, still long half my unit. The market comes down and stops me out.
Order canceled.
I'm not giving up anything in my beginning balance. I'm giving up unrealized profit or unrealized gain. I'm still up. The 15 points I locked in on the one lot, which is 1,000, right, or 1,500, and plus the 200 I locked in and paying for my trade. So I'm up 15 to 1,700, 13 to 1,700, whatever it is. The market extends. Those are the trades that make my quarter, that make my month, that make my week, that make my month, that make my quarter, that make my year, that ultimately set me free. Now, the price that I need to pay for that is scratching out a 5, 10, 15, 20-point trade. But the thing that the trades that make me free are the ones that give me 50 points, 100 points, 200 points, 300 points.
Oh, brígido.
Like, you know, getting long gold at 32.30, 31.30, taking profit at 31.95 or 96 and adding above 32.03 and taking those up to the next flatten zone at 33.32 is how you get rich. Buying 32.03s and selling them at 32.10 because, well, you don't want to scratch out the trade. You don't want to scratch out the trade. You're left holding your Schwanstucker when the market extends another $150. And you're wondering why in the fuck you're squeezing your balls so tight. That's not how you make money. That is the kind, you know, the old Ross Deutsch story. That is the kind of profit you go broke taking. You don't go broke taking profit. Yes, you do. Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? Does anybody have any questions on it? Did I explain that well? This process is in place for a reason. Takes your thinking out of it. Takes your subjective thinking out of it. And again, you'll scratch out a lot of 10, 15-point trades. So what? If you're trading these funded companies, well, fuck, you know, you're not trading because you're going to have to, you know, take the money because they don't want you to actually make money. See what I mean? If you're long from 60 and you've taken profit up to 75 and you still have half your unit on and the market comes back down to 60, scratches you out, you're reset even though you're up 1,500. They reset you, you got to pay them another nickel. If you guys don't start fucking, you know, responding to me in some way, either unmuting and speaking with me or typing in the chat, I'm going to stop talking because it's just nothing but fucking gray screen and I don't know.
Hey, Pax. Maybe something that might be useful for some of the newer people is to talk about specifically what happened yesterday with the Open and how important it is to watch the Open and the action off the Open. And how
no hay mucho movimiento.
Was a good indication that was going to be a good update yesterday.
I did that earlier.
Lo que suena es el grupo de Pax.
Yeah.
Por si acaso.
Did I not exactly explain
Right.
that?
No, we talked about that before the Open, that yesterday was easy. It was smooth price action.
The low of the day was made in the opening range. We came out of the opening range in the first attempt. We got to the pay line and through the pay line on the first attempt. Those are spots that you increase your size. Those are days that you go big. When we got to the first 15-handle rotation, we got to the first target. Did we fuck around there or did we take that out pretty easily too? I know that they were at least scratches, but did somebody answer, please?
It wasn't hard, but it wasn't super easy. It took a little bit of work.
And then we extended beyond that. So that became worth it too. So yesterday was a day to have increased your size from the opening range, from the fucking pay line. The low of the day is made in the opening range. We come out in the first attempt. We get to the pay line, you buy more. If you're long 4...
Pax está diciendo de que el día de ayer, como esta subida grande, es en aquellos días en los que uno tiene que ir con un gran size. No con solamente 2 contratos, sino que irte con ¿cuánto? 8, 10. En los que tienes que ya ir siempre a la defensiva. Ya abre tus 4 contratos normal. Rompe el payline y va con muy fuerte el price action. Ahí sube el size en los targets o en las rotaciones. Pero ahora, he estado lateralizando, no he hecho mucho, no he hecho nada, la verdad. Entonces, ya van a ser las 11:30. Bueno, son las 11:30. Hora Nueva York y hora Chile. Yo voy a dejar de hacer trading como a la 1.
And scratch them. Buy them, do it again, scratch them. I mean, honest to God, this isn't fucking rocket science. Yesterday was a day to have made a lot of money. And the traders that I mentor in one-on-one
El día de ayer fue tan rico, fue muy buen día. Aunque la cagué, cometí un error. Vámonos ayer, 19 de mayo.
Everybody made big money. Even though I wasn't here, Jared led all of you through it very well.
El día de ayer cometí un error, abrí 40 contratos. Imagínate, 40 contratos en los micros. Perdí $126, perdí harto. Voy negativo en la cuenta fondeada. Voy menos $500 de los 50.000. Y cuando cometí este error, seguí haciendo trading y me tocó algunos scratch, unos break-even, por así decirlo. Y luego si nos vamos a la cuenta simulada, que luego yo dejé de hacer trading como por unos 5 o 10 minutos. Comencé a leer la Biblia, oré, serené mi mente, dejé la cuenta fondeada porque no iba a operar con esa, aunque me fuera bien. Y en esta, y contemos los trades a partir de... desde aquí, a partir de esta hora, a partir de esos $37 hacia abajo, más 37, menos 90, menos 30, y después casi $400. Es que este trade yo fui con 8 contratos porque le aumenté el riesgo. Estuvo muy bueno. Estuvo muy, muy, muy bueno. Por eso, como ustedes pueden ver, el día de hoy aumenté el riesgo. Voy a estarle simulada. El día de hoy aumenté el riesgo. Fui con 8 contratos. Por eso preferí aumentar el riesgo para ver cómo me iba. Pero saqué 2 scratch. Digo, no, 2 expenses. Luego me tocó este. Y luego aquí vamos con menos $163. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle motherfucker.
Fucking Twitter. I changed my responses, who can reply to my tweets to verified only, but Twitter has now put it back on default to everybody. So now I've got, I tweeted earlier about gold levels. I got 25 fucking bots responding.
It's amazing how many of those fucking bots jump on, and then I'm surprised they haven't been able to cut that down. It's shocking how many of those things just automatically respond to you.
It really is. I got 21 responses, and almost all of those are these fucking bots.
Picture me rolling through downtown in an A4. Picture my signature on a pair of some J4.
So Almina, I had
Espérate.
I started trading when I was 27 or 28, but I started on the trading floor when I was 19.
Ok. Me está hablando a mí.
Or maybe 20, 19. And And I walked out on the floor. There was a guy in my neighborhood who was
Voy a presionar.
a multimillionaire by the time he was in his early 20s, a guy named Pat Girondi. I had posted a podcast that he did not long ago called, with Soft White Underbelly. And he was the reason I became a trader, because he was from my neighborhood, and he was just a kind of a knock-around guy that ended up going to the SIBO and got some people's attention, started trading, and just made an ungodly amount of money.
Was he the guy that used to drive the Rolls Royce?
No,
Different guy.
Girondi drove Cadillacs and shit. Yeah, he would never in that neighborhood. He would never have gotten away with driving something like that. And it would have never have happened. So anyway, so I started at the Merc as a runner. I was making $89 a week. I was driving a truck for my uncle in the back of the yards neighborhood. My dad thought I was going to college, and he found out I wasn't going to college, and found out I was driving a truck, and said, around the city of Chicago, and he said, listen, you gotta go to become a tradesman, get a trade, or become a copper fireman, go to work for the city. I don't want to work for the city, Dad. I don't want to be a copper fireman. Well, you can't drive a truck your whole life, so become an electrician. I can't screw in a light bulb. Figure something out. So I went and my friend Frankie and I were talking. Frankie was a phone clerk for Rosenthal, so he said, I can get you a job at the Merc. Okay. So I got my, I'll never ever forget walking onto the trading floor the first time. Eugene, I don't remember his last name. Eugene, the toughest Jew alive. Everybody said he was the toughest Jew alive. Eugene, his badge was huge. Great fucking dude. He got me, he ran the desk operations, so he ran the floor operations for Rosenthal at the time. Just now RCG became Merrick's, or is now Merrick's. Anyway, he got me my jacket and got me a badge and brought me on the floor and took me to the desk. And this guy, Tommy Murray, was running the desk, and he showed me where I run the orders to. It's just, you're taking paper orders to. I ran paper orders to lumber, to the S&P, and to the back month euros. That's what our desk did.
Order submitted.
And then I took a class very soon after that. How do you move up in this business? You don't take a job, minimum wage job for the pay. So I asked a lot of questions. I started to talk to everybody when I'm running orders. Like, who are the big shots? Who are the people that everybody likes and looks up to? And Ira, actually, I was a runner, and I started to say good morning to Ira. And my first name is Arthur, so my badge said Arthur on it. So good morning, Art. Ira called me Art until I really got to know him. Good morning, Art. Fucking hated that. But I started to say good morning to people, so people would get to know my face, and I kind of, who the fuck is this kid? But and then I would start asking questions and stuff. So somebody told me that ARB clerks, the people that did the hand signals, that took orders, that quoted markets through hand signals and took orders and serviced customer business through hand signals, made a lot of money. So, okay, cool. The guys in lumber that I ran orders to hired me to hold their deck. So I learned how. Do you want me to? Is this interesting, or not? I don't need to. I can talk about the markets or something. All right. So John Fisher, his badge was Joff. Steve Lev, Mike Nardi. Steve Lev was a redheaded guy. Had him and John Fisher had presidential Rolexes. They were the first time I ever saw $25,000 in somebody's wrist. I thought that was pretty cool. Lev had a jet. I thought that was cool. So they hired me to hold their deck during lumber, and during rollover. So I only worked two weeks a month, but I was making $150 a week cash, and then they paid me $200 a week. So I'm making about $400 a month, which is about what I was making as a runner. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then John Fisher was the first one to tell me that you're good at this. You've got some talent, because the way that you look at look at your domes. So the deck right now is, you can see the bids and offers, right? 61 quarter is bid 17 times, 61 and a half bid 50, 61 quarter 50, so it's like 50 all the way up, right? So on the way, and offers, 50 on the offer, 50 on the offer, 100 on the offer. So that's the deck. In the old days, people would run or walk quickly a paper order that said, I would, if I wanted to buy S&P, I would call up and say, listen, buy 5 at buy 5 June 25 S&P at 59.55, and somebody would write that on a piece of paper, plus 5 at the price, and then account number on it. Give it to a runner. The runner would run it into to the right broker in the pit. The clerk would take it, and 59.55, so it's on the market. I would give it to the broker. The broker would put it on and add it to his count. So we're coming down. He'd say 55 out of 100, because that's what he's got in his deck. If it was closer, then somebody would say, hey, June, right now it's 58 and a half trade, right? They would say 7 bet at 9, below the market, pay 55 on 20. So it was all done through hand signals. Now you just click you click the button and it goes into the deck. But then you had to call a desk, and they either put it in through hand signals or they wrote it up, and and you ran it in. So I did that, and then while I was clerking in lumber, by the way, was absolutely the best kept secret on the floor. Those guys all made an ungodly amount of money. They just made tons of money. So anyway, I took. There are two black guys that taught hand signals, Bruce Redding and Romney. I don't remember Romney's last name, but Bruce taught the ARB class. Bruce was a great clerk, made a bunch of money, and the Merc had contracted with these two guys to teach the hand signals and everything that we needed to know, what we called ARB. I don't know why we ever called it ARB, because it's not really ARB, but anyway. So the hand signals, how to count, how to add, how to hold a deck, how to keep a deck, all those things Bruce taught us, and then I bullshitted my way into a job. This guy Russell Steger, who was a spreader in the back month Euros, needed a clerk. $350 a week.
The Monopoly man.
Yeah, he had a big. Yeah, he looked like the guy he looked like the Monopoly man. He wasn't very tall. He's like 5'6", 5'7", nice man with one of those gigantic ass, huge bushy stash that twirled around and around and around like an old 1900s, mustache Pete.
Russell Eager.
No, he was great. I hope he's still alive. Frankie worked for him too.
His son Jonah, was he working for him yet or not?
No, fuck no. Noah was in grammar school. This is 88 when I started working for him.
No, Russell's gone.
Russell died.
Yeah. He looked like he was a fucking a Civil War veteran. That fucking beard.
He did. When did Russell die? Really? He died?
Russell's dead? No way.
Yeah,
really?
He lived up in the
He wasn't that old. He wasn't. Let me see if I can find. Oh my God, he did die. Holy shit! Look at the obituary picture of him.
I told you.
Was he in his 70s when he passed away?
Look at his obituary picture. It's him without his mustache.
Here, put it in here. Let's see.
Oh my God, he was old. Fucking 85 when he died.
Did you know that broker that just passed away yesterday? The S&P broker?
Yeah. Bill Barless. Yeah, he was a good dude. Look at that picture. That's Russell without the stash. I've never seen him without that stash.
Holy shit. That does not look like Russell at all.
Oh,
You gotta
I
be-
wish I'd have known that he died. I'd have gone to that.
This isn't Russell. This cannot be Russell. Oh yeah, you're right. It is him.
Maybe that isn't
Oh.
him.
No, it's
Love
not him. No, Jonah's not in here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly right. Not Jonah, Noah. Noah.
Whatever his fucking name is.
Oh, God, you're rude.
That's just funny that there's another Russell Steger.
Russell Ruck Steger. What a fucking waspy name that is. Russell Ruck Steger.
I was like, no way is that Russ Steger. No way.
Why do you think he's gone, Marty?
Michelle said he's gone for sure.
Oh, and then
Yeah, Michelle would know, right? Yeah.
anyway, so Russ hired me, and he had one customer, Annie. Annie, oh my God, Annie hated me in the beginning. I had no idea what to do, so I jumped up on the step. Russell said, "All you have to do is watch her." You know, he was a spreader. He filled spread orders, and he traded like the back month spreads in the euros. All you have to do is watch her. Don't take your eyes off her. She'll ask for markets, and if she asks you for D-Smarts, just ask me, and I'll give it to you. All right. Andy starts asking for D-Smarts, March, June SAP, and I'm lost. You know, D-Smarts, through hand signals. There's too many people in here, but I'd show you the hand signals. Maybe I can go on camera and I'll show you. I can't. Shit. So I froze. I didn't know what to do. D-Smarts, and she's screaming at me, Emma effing me. Everybody on the floor swore, right? So Annie was maybe 5 feet tall. I don't remember her last name. I can't even, Transmarket. Her company.
Looked like Raggedy Ann, didn't she?
No, she was tough. So she yelled at Billy Kavanaugh and John McGuire were these great clerks that worked for the Euro spreaders, and they quoted her the markets, and they took she was doing 1,000 lots too. My first day, 1,000 lots, and that's 2,000 contracts. So they took her orders, and they didn't steal them. They took her orders and gave them to Russell, and then relayed the fills back to Russell, and they're like, "You don't have any idea what you're doing, do you?" No, I just took. I told them the truth. I just took the class. So they showed me. They taught me how to clerk, and within 2 weeks, I was up to speed, and I was doing it myself. And Annie ended up really liking me and respecting me a great deal. And you quickly got a reputation as a good clerk, right? And if you're a good clerk, somebody else was going to hire you away for more money. Now, Russell only had one customer. He's not going to pay me more dough. So Ojo hired me. I took a job with Ojo Manini for $500 a week. I went from $350 a week to $500 a week. Now, I'm in the business maybe 8 months, maybe. I don't know. And I started to work for them, and I got raised up to $750 a week, and I became their head clerk in the 3rd and 4th months of the Euros. And what happened was Stanley Cochran he had just started filling orders, and Chris Daly, who was my broker, Chris Daly and Dave Kelly, my two brokers, we were dead, and they go eat or something. They go eat lunch. It's like the market's like this. We're not doing anything. They go on break and give Stanley the deck, and we're not doing shit. Stanley's got maybe a 50 lot, below and 100 lot above the market, and he's holding the deck. The deck again being like, just look at the bids and offers on the dome. That would be if a deck. So, we don't have any orders closed. So Chris Daly goes and eats, and the Fed does something, like a surprise move in the middle of the day. The Fed time that Rob was alluding to was at 10:30. We had to be back from break at 10:30. Usually came out at 10:40, and the Fed would announce overnight repos, or they'd adjust rates, or at that point, every day it happened every day. But this happened at noon, right? Later on. all hell broke loose, and poor Stanley freaked out. He froze. Stanley, sell 100, buy 200, and I'm flipping orders to him, not just for me, but from the other clerks, and Stanley isn't filling anything. Now the market just broke 20 points and rallied 10, or we had this huge move that everything on the downside was filled and everything on the upside was filled, and Stanley didn't fill shit. So I've got customers fucking screaming and screaming, you're out, trying to give orders to the people next to me. And so, what do I do? So I knew what orders should be filled. I knew what orders they were hung on. And I had stops below that could have, so I started to match everything up as best I can. And Stanley literally walked out of the pit, gave me the deck and walked out of the pit, and I'm just a clerk. So I managed all of that. Chris Daly came running back in, and Chris ended up, he said, where are we? I said, I had to fill everybody on this stuff, so you better figure it. So Chris figured out what should have been filled, what wasn't. And, that should have been a huge costly error. But because I was level-headed and I slowed everything down and I took charge of the entire thing, kind of, I think that they ended up having to write maybe $50,000 in checks instead of $500,000. It was really, really bad. Stanley had a nervous breakdown and didn't fill anything, and there were thousands of contracts that should have been filled. I just had dinner with him and Chris Daly not long ago. We were kind of talking about that. I mean, he had a complete nervous breakdown, never to fill orders again, I don't think, until maybe later on. So that got the attention of like the big leagues. The big leagues were the guys that Marty worked for on the other side in the front month, Derby, or Steve Mendez, or, they were front month order fillers. So people started to talk about that, and Stingray in our group, Terry was getting his seat, or had gotten his seat, and when you got your seat, you had to wait a year before you can fill orders. So what they did, what Mendez did, Steve Mendez would do was he would hire people on an interim basis, like probation. You were hired on probation, and $1,000 a week, but I could be fired at any time. I took that job. I took that gamble, not because I went from $750 a week to $1,000 a week, but because Steve put people in the pit. Steve was generous and put people in a pit and gave them their seats and backed them. And I had no other chance of getting into the pit. I didn't have a rich uncle or a rich father. I didn't know anybody with money. Now my uncle had some money, but he wasn't going to put me in the pit. So I had to work for somebody that did. And so I went to work for Steve, and, I passed the tryout. Terry's cousin, Tommy, was our head clerk, and he was just a fucking asshole. Had me convinced that I was going to get fired every 15 minutes. So oh God, that gave me so much anxiety. But finally I made it, and then Rob started working with us, and then Marty started working with us, and then everybody got their seats.
How was your replacement when you went to the seminary?
You're right. I went to the seminary, and then everybody got their seats and came back. When I came back from seminary, Rob was making a ton of money. Terry's rich. Fucking Marty's filling orders. Everybody, even Donuts was making good money. But Steve ended up, so Steve backed all of those guys to be order fillers and brokers, and then he backed me to be a local, which is what I wanted to do anyway.
It's just funny when you say like the first time you get up in the step and you're clerking, and just so like people understand, like, we're set back maybe 40 feet from desks. Then there can be desks that are a lot closer, but for the most part, someone's in it would be like someone being like on risers, like in a grandstand, and then they point at you, and then if you're new, that just because it's kind of like when you're driving a car the first time, right? You're driving along, and then you got to do your first right turn. When they point at you and you're quoting the market, oh man, I got anxiety when you said that.
Well, just the way you described it, I got anxiety. Oh man,
right? They just point at you, and I mean, this is the first time you're actually quoting someone, and you look like a fucking idiot. And then like they'll do, and it's always the first time they point at you, they're like over exaggerating. They'll point and they'll like, oh, they'll point, and then they'll hit their head because they'll put their head they'll put their hand, they'll point at you, and then you quote the market, and then they'll put their hand at their head, they'll slap their head, and they're looking for size. And
So when
you have
somebody,
no
hold on, let me explain that. So when they do that, you say, like right now the market's trading at 9, right? 59. So
Well, so like, this is full text. So she'll point at Matt. Matt will be like 9-0, right? And
right.
she'll be like, "What's the size?" So she'll hit her head. So then Matt will go. He'll like take his hand and say 1,000 by 500. So he'll take his arms out and cross his arms and say 1,000, and then to say 500, he'll put his hand out and close his fist and open it quickly, and that's 500.
We were giving them the size of the bids and offers.
I wish you could like you could show these people like
There's videos
video.
of that. There's videos of that on YouTube. If anybody wants.
Right.
But it would be better if we showed them. So like like right now we're trading 61. So I'd quote the market 02 once trade, and they'd say size. I'd say once trade. There's 20 offered at 1, 50 offered at 1, even on 100. 01, even on 150 at 1. You'd show them that. So you're
all hand signal. You might want to say that. All hand signal.
It's all hand signals. So once trade, you would shake your finger. 61's trade, once trade, one bid. Now, and they would say size again, 1 on 50, 100 at 2, 100 at 2, 2 straight, 2 bid. So what you see on the domes is what we did as clerks, and what made a great clerk is a lot of things. One is you gave accurate markets, and the size that you gave your customers, the size that you showed them and the markets you showed them, protected them with their customers. So if you showed it 3's trade right now, 2-4. If you showed 2-4, you showed 4 offer, they're telling their customer 4 offer. So that means that their customer thinks that they can buy 4s and sell 2s. See what I mean? Is this making sense or no? So 4's trade, 4 bid. Now you're helping your customer protect themselves and to generate business. And if you do that, they're going to want to do more business with you. More business with you means more money for your broker, which means a better everything for you. So then you had to keep your deck, you had to keep your personal deck in order. How many? Okay. So, hey, Jimmy, I'm working 1 on 50, you got a total of 5. I'm working 1/2 on 10, you got, you're filled. I'm working 2 on 100, you got nothing. It's 3 bid, 4 bid. Now what do you want to do? And then you also have to remember, all right, now the market's rallying in my deck. I'm working 50 at 5, 50 at 6, 50 at 7, and 100 at 9. Hey, check, and I'm still working 7. I'm check, all 3 hand signals, check. I'm working 5, 6, and 7s, right? Yeah, work them. Right? I mean, you would protect your broker. You would, now, all that is done on, just by clicking the mouse. So I did that, went to the seminary, studied to be a Catholic priest, 3.5 years. I came back and I took my old job back, and Rob and Marty and Terry were all filling and stuff, and I would come back and forth on breaks when Rob was clerking, and I'd work, I'd work on summer breaks or Christmas breaks and shit from seminary, and but it was great. It was a great time. It was fun, and then Steve was kind of retiring. The guy that we had all worked for was selling his business and retiring. So he said, "Listen, there's no more room to fill orders, but I'll back you if you want to trade. I'll back you to trade." I was, "Fuck yeah, I do. That's what I want to do." So I just got married, or I was just getting married. My ex-father-in-law was a broker on the other side of the pit, and Steve knew I didn't want to work for my ex-father-in-law. So he backed me, and I took him up on it. All I had to do was come up with $10,000. Now, backing to be a trader, to walk onto the floor, you needed a substantial, amount of money behind you. To even get into an FCM, substantial amount of money behind you. And you had to go through membership at the exchange. I ended up serving on the membership committee for a couple of years. That was kind of fun. And they do a deep dive on you. They do an FBI background check on you, and they also do a complete they get your complete financial statement and totally do. I mean, it's amazing. It's easier for you if everybody knows you from the exchange. And I was around talking to everybody. Everybody knew me. I had a good reputation. I never missed work. I was there. My mother had breast cancer surgery, and I was at work. I was at work that day. My mother had her lung removed with lung cancer surgery, and I was at work. I had my wisdom teeth pulled, and I was at work the next day. They sent me home, but I went. I showed up. I mean, that was my future. Right? I wasn't going to be any victim. I was going to make my future. I was at work every day, and I was there early, and I left late. And I didn't come in hungover very often, I don't think. Not that in my mind I didn't. Maybe I did, I don't know. We were all young guys. So, but I did my job very well, and I took it seriously, and we had a lot of fun too. So Steve backed me. I knew a lot of people, so I was able to fly through membership, and I had a good reputation. And Steve backed me, and so all I had to do was come up with 10,000. And Steve said that he wouldn't share my profit and loss. Cool, just don't go debit. And and then first 6 months, my seat lease was $3,200 a month. I couldn't make any money, couldn't figure it out. The Nasdaq at that time was $100 a point, or $100 a tick. Could you imagine trading now for $100 a tick per one lot? I mean, isn't that kind of like freaky? $100 a tick. You buy one at even, you sell it at 01. That's a C note. Now it's $1. What's a tick in the micros? $1.25. Whatever, $5 a point. So $100 a tick then. A tick. So I was
MES tax be 10,000 a share.
Would be. It was terrifying. It was it was scary, but I was determined. Well, first 6 months couldn't make shit. I was taking Mickey's class, learning how mock trading and ostensibly learning how to get in and out of trades. And it was mock trading. It was like a simulator in a pit after the close. Learning how to think and act like a trader, but it wasn't, there was no trading methodology to it. It was just, scalping in and out and relying on your friendships. And then I met Judd. I had $250 left in my trading account. I had just paid my seat lease had just came out of my account, $3,200. So that wiped out like almost everything that I had, and I think I had like 1,000 in there, and then I had a loss, and I was like, fuck, I can't trade anymore. So I made an appointment with Mickey to talk about finding a backer. I think I talked to Bob Levinson, but I wasn't tall enough. And Bob Levinson, I'm just under. I was like 6'3". I think I'm under 6'3" now. I think I'm shrinking a bit, but I was like 6'3", 6'3 and a half then. You had to be 6'4", 6'5" to be backed by Levinson. And then I had a couple appointments in the afternoon, and I go down to talk, people that back me to trade for a prop firm. And the way that the prop firms work now is the same way that they worked then. They take 50% of what you make for the first $500,000, and then it goes to 60-40, and then $1 million at 70-30, and then you buy yourself out of the deal, something like that. And it's a 3-year deal. It's a 3-year commitment. So, and maybe they give you a draw, and if they give you a draw, that comes out of what you make, and all of that other shit. So I went outside. I still have the statement, by the way, $257 left in my trading account. I kept that statement. I go outside and have a cigarette, and I'm talking to Mark Weil, this rich kid from Highland Park. His parents were doctors. The only son of Jewish doctors, so he had a lot of money. And he was about my age. And Mark said, I told him, hey, Pex, what's going on? And I told him I was, struggling and not doing well, and I didn't know what to do. And I said, I'm going to sign a deal. I'm going to try to get somebody to back me. He said, don't do that. That was the best advice anybody had ever given me, actually. That and don't marry Nicole. I didn't listen to that advice. But Mark Weil had said, listen, don't do it. If you sign it, the NASDAQ is going to be the last great pit on the floor. We're going to explode. And when it does, you're going to be giving half of what you make away for 3 years, and that might be all we get out of this. So go beg, borrow, and steal the money to put into your trading account and buy yourself the time to figure it out. Jeez, what do I do now? So we put our cigarettes out, and I went upstairs, walking on the floor, and I see Steve, the guy that backed me. Steve Mendez is walking around with Judd Hirschberg, and Judd had gotten indicted when the feds were on the floor in the late 80s, early 90s. Judd had gotten indicted for wire fraud and pled guilty, and so he was banned from the CFTC and the NFA from trading and the Merc. But he can get a yellow jacket, he can get on as a clerk. And he knew what he didn't tell me at the time was that he knew that he was getting a presidential pardon from Clinton eventually, and that he thought that was going to get him back on the floor, get him back in the pit. So the NASDAQ, he wanted to learn the NASDAQ, and the best way to do that for him, because he couldn't trade, was find somebody that would pay him and he'll teach him. So he said, his exact words to me were, I'll teach you a way of trading that'll work on the floor, off the floor, anytime, anywhere in the world. That was the opening range, right? The opening range breakouts. And I said, okay, you got to pay. It's $1,000 a week. $1,000 a week. I'm bartending 6 nights a week, dude, to pay my mortgage. And my wife who's got her master's degree, is working at the Gap folding clothes, and we've got a brand new baby. I pay you $1,000 a week. My seat lease is $3,200. What am I going to do? And he said, well, if you listen to me, you can pay me at the end of the month. All right, I got nothing to lose. I just paid my seat lease. I got 4 weeks left to make $3,200 to pay whoever owns my seat and to pay Judd 4G. I had to meet him every morning at 6. I had to read the Financial Times from cover to back. I didn't have to understand it, but I had to read it so that he's going to teach me how to read the board. He's going to teach me how to see the capital flows, risk on, risk off. He's going to teach me what levels are important, how they're important, and why they're important. Rotational work from Howard, and eventually I met Howard and learned it from both of them. At that point, I was paying him $10,000 a week, not $1,000 a week, 10 G a week, $40,000 a month. So, and worked every fucking penny of it in those days. Yeah, I still have my trading jacket. I have one of them. I don't have the main one, but when I walked off the floor, I thought I would come back, but I didn't because of MF Global. So anyway, first, I don't remember how long it took me to make my first trade, but Judd was standing with me in the pit saying, buy him here, buy him now, buy one. And I only had $200 in my account. I was terrified. I was afraid. So Judd got mad, and, one day, and I think Benji, Jayhawk, Ben Schwartz was offering 5 it even. No, it was Andy. 5 it even. Andy Stavros, my brother-in-law. 5 it even. Buy one from him, Matt. 5 it even. No, it was Benji. It was Benji that did it. 5 it even. Buy one from him. Jesus Christ, Benji, he bought one. Write it down. So Benji said, okay, I sold you one. And I did like Jackie Gleason. I was nervous. The market goes, 1 bid, 2 bid, 3 bid. So Benji said, checking. I sold you one at even. Ben held it for me, So I was so nervous. My hands were shaking. I carded it up, and it was an immediate $300 or $200 or $300 profit. A broker next to him was like, 350, say you want. I fucking got out of that so fast. I thought Judd would shoot me, because the opening range breakouts in the NASDAQ were good for 8 to 10 points. And I sold it out for like $200 or $300. Oh God. But the next day, same thing happened. 5 it even. Buy one from him. This time I bought it. And this time it was from Andy. And then that one I took for 10 points. So that one I made $1,000 on. And then, hey, listen, I'm in the game. 2 days in a row. I'm up 1,300 to 1,200. Fuck yeah. I got money in my account, breath in my lungs, and a beating heart. Next day, again. Even on 5, sell you 1. Cover those for 1,000. Every day I'm making a Gino. At the end of that month, I paid Jetta's 4,000, and I paid my seat lease for 3,200. At the end of the second or third month, I quit my bartending job. At the end of that, the second 6 months of my trading, I made $500,000, and me and my ex-wife bought a house. We built a house. We built one of those semi fucking custom jobs in a brand new enclave with no trees and shit, you know what I mean? In a suburb, Gurnee, fucking hour and a half away from anybody, I knew.
Gurnee, Jesus.
Oh, it was awful. So anyway, then open it, we did the NASDAQ did 5,000. Look, we did 250,000 in the NASDAQ today, right? We were doing like 5,000 a day, and now I'm becoming part of the group. I'm becoming part of the pit. I'm not just like a hanger on. And I started to trade 2 lots, and well, if I can do this on 1 lot and 2 lots, I can do it on 5 lots. And as the volume grew, like there was when I knew that if I knew that I can get out of a 5 lot, why wouldn't I want to trade 5 lots? If I trust, one of the things that Mickey taught us was to always know your outs. Before you take the trade, know where you're going to get out. Know where you're going to get out for a loss, and know where you're going to get out for a profit. Before you take the trade, you have to be able to define it. Define your trade. Stop, profit, right? So if 20 to even, and there's 100 lots behind it, why the fuck wouldn't I want to buy that 20 to even? So I started, I upped my size pretty fast. I went from a 1 lot to a 2 lot to a 10 lot trader, like overnight, and very quickly, and then, I made my first million within the first full year of me trading, or, first full year of me trading with Judd. And, I went from 10 lots to 20 lots, 20 lots to 50 lots, 50 lots to 100 lots. A 1 lot for every 10 points is 1,000. So how much is 100 lot every 10 points? I mean, the money was huge. It was fun. It was exciting. And I can get out of good things. And I traded the breakouts. I didn't fade things. I didn't sit there and scalp during the day. I was very, very, very disciplined. Then my marriage began to deteriorate, and I kind of knew we had another baby. We had Danny, and we moved to this gigantic fucking house in Lake Forest, and actually Lake Bluff. And then we bought 2 successive lake houses in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And, I mean, it should have been, I was, young and good looking. My ex-wife was young and good looking, yet she was a narcissistic, negative, evil fucking woman. Not evil, just a narcissistic, unhappy, unpleasable person. To prove that, she's been divorced 3 times since me, and me and Jen have been married for 20 years. Oh, I was her first husband. 2 were her guys. 1 is in jail, 1... whatever. So the point is should have been a great time, but it wasn't. So as my marriage began to deteriorate, it became, fear began to creep in, ego began to creep in. I started to fade markets. I started to overtrade. I wasn't trading my breakouts. I was leaving my methodology behind. I got extorted by Jimmy Calentis, who was a gangster, and then I became friends with the head of the Chicago Mafia, took him to France, became friends with all these gangsters to protect me from this other gangster, and the whole fucking thing went on and on and on and on and on. And things changed. I didn't lose money. I just didn't make money. After my divorce, I lost my ex-wife got 60%, and each kid got 10, and I bought her house in Lake Forest with no mortgage, but, and then I just didn't make money for a few years. And 08 happened, and I was already out of the pit by then. I was, I don't know, trying to start a prop firm, trying to fucking start something in that business. I always knew I always knew I'd be successful. And I'd walk off to the trading floor. I'd make $100,000, $200,000 in a day and be walking off the floor. And in those days, I'd be thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to make a lot of money, but it's going to be related to trading, but I don't think it's going to be as an independent trader eventually. Yeah, I just knew that there was something more beyond me standing in the pit, or sitting at my desk there, and I don't know whether I don't know what it is. I don't know. I still don't know whether or not that's a fund, starting a fund or a prop group, which is actually prop, like an online prop group that actually does prop and not these funded company fucking nonsensical bullshit. I don't know what it is, but I always thought that. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but the point is that, that I don't know. I don't know if any of that's interesting. I don't even know if any of you are listening. But it's been, look, and I know I'm 56 years old, but I feel like I'm 36. I really do. And I think I'm 36. I look at pictures of myself over the weekend at my daughter's graduation, and I realize I'm not fucking 36 anymore. Although the new grinder picture that I posted of myself yesterday from working out, that looks like my grinder photo, doesn't it?
Looks like it. I set up a profile for you.
Is that why my phone's ringing off the hook?
I took off the verified.
Oh no! Wait a second, Nate. What does that mean? Thirst trap. What's that mean? Oh, here comes another young kid's line.
It's a thrust trap.
What's that mean?
No, he meant thirst trap.
I don't know what I'm not sure I even want to know what thrust trap means.
Thirst trap is all those chicks that force their cushion. You fine.
Fucking, I saw that lady yesterday. Holy shit.
Did you run from her, I hope?
No, she waves at me. I wave at her. She's a 12. I told her I had to break down and tell her I'm married. Oh, she's just beautiful.
Watch Matt Hanks is a thing of loveliness, folks.
This woman is beautiful. She's dark skinned. She's just, oh my God, she's just beautiful. And she's nice. She laughed when I told her I was married. She's still flirts with me and she knows it makes me nervous. Yeah, I know, Froggy, but I thought that was, I knew that was the way it was going to come off when I sent that picture on Facebook, but on Twitter to some people, and I didn't care because I thought it was also motivating to some, especially people my age. Well, fuck it. I posted it and I left it up. But anyway, I know I'm 56 logically, but in my mind, I feel like I'm 36. I really do feel that way. I mean, honest to God, and part of what I mean is that I know that I've got 20, 30 really, really good work years left. So what do I want that to do? What do I want that to look like? Money is not my motivating factor anymore. At all. Money is not my motivating factor anymore. I'm not doing shit for free, but it's not why I'm doing things. Whether I'm talking about the group or I'm talking about my trading or I'm talking about whatever it is that I'm going to wind up doing, my pursuit in life is my main driving force in life is to be more fully who I am. Genevieve and I had this conversation yesterday. I'm excited for her. I told her, I said, I'm very excited for you about where you are in your life. You Genevieve, I know you're it's sad and painful and you lost your best friend. You're probably, everything. But you are now going to become more fully who you truly are, and that's exciting. I didn't do that until I was in my 40s, maybe 50. I wanted to be different. I wanted to think different. I wanted to act different. I didn't fully appreciate who I was, and but that's my motivating factor is truly being who I am, and that means that my main driving force is to make a difference in people's lives, to make a positive difference in people's lives. That is absolutely my motivating factor. And if I can figure out a way to continue to make money doing that, well then, bully for me. There's a lot of nonsense that's being spilled out there. There's a lot of bullshit that's hurting